Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody just calm down!
Help!
Here,
Oh.
take my hand.
Ah!
Come on. You're gonna fall unless you take my hand.
No, give me your other hand.
Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand.
No! Get it away from me!
Take it. Take my hand.
After a big afternoon of shopping, there's nothing better than some Mexican food and a nice little drink. Come on down and enjoy a nice Mexican fiesta.
Guess what? We took everything you love about the Bloomin' Onion and created a menu you've never seen before.
Let me hear you say, Bloom that ass! Bloom that ass!
This bloomified menu starts at $13.99 and it's gonna blow your bloomin' mind.
What is up, everybody? Hope you are well. Welcome to the show. Here we are. I had to start a bit earlier than I planned because Panel Breakers looks like it's going earlier than normal, but you know what Reenie's like. So I start early. If I sound out of breath, which I do, it's because I just had to run in quickly and grab this, which I forgot. Which is the ash can for the trading cards that I hope you all purchased on the campaign. So they're all in. Just see it just for scale's sake. That's sort of the size we're working with here. So yeah, I'm not going to show you everything because some of you didn't get the special, super duper special cards. I mean, you all would have gotten that. And that, but hold on to it. So early, never go. It's daylight. Oh, so that's what's going on. I thought that. I was going to ask that. Is it did daylight savings just start? So Jake says yes. All right, okay. So that explains it. So you guys are going at the same time. I was going at a different time. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, I've been working out for almost a month now. I still get out of breath. I don't have my fitness up, but getting doing well otherwise. I am live inking sketch covers for Fractured Mind. That is what I will be doing, Cranberry. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Mark's Music Obsession is here. Citizen Ronan. He was right. I mean, it was in the title, so fair enough. What's up, Valley Law? Great to see you as always. Take my small hand. Hello, Parkour and Comics. Hail. Great to have you here. Dr. Mask Retro Elixir in the house. Cranberry always hated the Outback commercials. It didn't make sense to me from Australia. Yeah, we have there's no such thing as a bloomin' onion in Australia. But I did go over there. I did have it. It was delicious. It was very greasy, but in the best possible way. It should be a Bogan staple. I should get Mel to make one, actually. That'd be a good test of her skills. Is everyone streaming tonight? I don't know. We've got 25 beautiful people in here, so that's X included. It's 15 on YouTube, 12 on X. Well, you know what it means when it's on X there. Watching. Early, never girly. Exactly. How are the dude? It's crazy. It's actually 3 weeks in, and no, it's noticeable already. And I have been progressively either upping the weights or the reps or whatever. So it's going well. What's up, Rod? Look what it says here. After Looper and Goddard, because I took this is like a panel from the book, and I turned it into a cover. But then I also took because with the whole ink washes and everything that I'll be doing after this, I stole that from Goddard. But this is what the sketch cover looks like before it goes onto the book. I have to do them now, I realized, because the printer's going to need them for when they stick them on the books. So I can't really send the book. I suppose I could send it to print maybe in a week. That gives me a week to finalize the covers. And by that, I just mean make sure I'm 100% happy with the pre-press and everything that's going on with the covers. So I've got the interior file done. It's good. I'm happy. And I think I'm 99% happy with my cover. And now I just want to make sure I'm 100% happy with Rod's cover. I'm just meaning the colors. Make sure that they sing. Make sure that they're exactly how they need to be. The skirt is billowing from a huge fart. Oh, Ronan. How dare you impugn our Ella like that by using such terminology? I wouldn't even read it out. Yeah, I've been just doing these. I've just been doing like the character the last couple of days, getting through about 3 or 4 a day. Just, after work, before work, lunch break. And, I really would like to get them done at least over the next couple of weeks. Because what is it now? It's the 13th. Was hoping to be able to start sending out by the end of this month. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it'll be close. It's science. I don't know what kind of mad science you guys are involved in, but you guys can keep it to yourself. But it's always love getting back to the just pen on paper. Even though I'm not technically drawing on the paper, it's just going over my own lines. There's still something. I enjoy getting back to it, essentially. I was watching Rocky the other day do his thing, where he's like flipping between the things like an old school animator. I was like, yeah, I do miss it. Speaking of drawing directly onto paper, tomorrow is the Hellwall launch. And Matt's been busy preparing for that. Book looks great. It looks so... it just looks so... How do I describe it? Indie. I really like what he's doing over there. I love so much pen on paper. I can't give it up. Yeah, I think you know, you doing so much of this book traditionally, Rod, I think you can really tell. Rod, for a lot of the book, he did the sort of the pencil kind of stuff on the computer. That way, you know, if we wanted to change anything, it was pretty easy. And then once we were happy with that, he would just jump into the inks on the traditional. And I have quite a few of those inks coming my way. They were lost in the mail, which was pretty stressful for a little bit, but it's all good. They came back to him, and all's well that ends well. Just the last page I gave up. Yeah. Well, no one's seen that page fully yet, Rod. I'm keeping especially the colors. You wait till you see the colors. Oh my God. The last page of the book is completely different to the whole rest of the book. It's a big splash page. It starts with a splash, ends with a splash. It all ties together. I think you guys are going to really love it. But even Rod hasn't seen the final colors. No spoilers. Yeah, I want him to see it when he gets it in his hands. I need to get your... I don't know if I have Rod's address, actually. I need to get that off him. Soonish. I work in a winery, so my nails are usually full of soil. Well, you don't need nails for a motorboating, Eweezy. Thankfully. Just a face and a willing participant. He has Korean women to do his nails. Oh, that's what you're talking about. My manicure. I did actually just trim them before the stream. They were getting a little long. But you know, I work a cushy, you know, at my desk job, so you wouldn't expect them to be too dirty. Don't listen to Bancroft, says Gordon Goodbrother. With what? About what? About how motorboating requires a willing participant? Hopefully not. So for this coloring in phase, I'm using the BM brush. Medium, kind of big fat boy. I like it because it's the same ink as the multiliner. So when it all dries, it all just blends together pretty perfectly. So you can see it's a bit dark there, but that'll all flatten out really nicely. A little bit down there I missed. On the boot. Wait, you can't just walk up to a woman in public and do it. You can do that. You can. What happens afterwards is directly tied to how good looking you are. So if you look like Henry Cavill, you'll probably get, oh, you're so silly. If you don't, yeah, you might get arrested. Only if you have a ski mask, Citizen Ronan. A BM pen, does it smell? It has no scent, but that's the BM. And then there's also a BS. The BS, I never use the BS pen. It's too pointy. But I will use the other ones. What am I looking for? I've got a whole box here. Hang on, this one's done for now. On to another Ella. All right, this is my box. This is my box of goodies that I've collected over the years. I'm looking for 0.5. There's one. Oh, I've got two of them. I don't believe you never using the BS pen. Maybe I gave it a try once, but it wasn't right for me. Okay, let's see if this is a good one. That's a shit one. Here's the other one. That's better. It's a little awkward here because I usually get up pretty close with my face, but now I guess I'm just going to have to not do that. Otherwise my head's going to knock the camera. Let's get the money flowing, guys, says Blazian, aka Michael Deacher. Thank you very much. $5 super chat. Very much appreciated. You know what?
Well, cheers, biggies.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just going to leave that up there. Yeah, let's get the money flowing, guys. Rod says, I forgot to mention, I'm also working on a comic book written and drawn by me. Yeah, it looks like it's sort of... Rod, would you say it's kind of set in... It looks like Incan or something, like Maya or Inca or something South American, you know. Rod is South American. So it looks like, you know, Apocalypto kind of. Pretty soon I will start to make live streams like the master of the master. Yeah, sure. But yeah, he shared some of it around out there and it looks really dope. I always hold my breath on the kind of when I do the long stroke. Like an archer about to shoot his quarry. What's up, Maromi? He says, I can't tell you too much yet, but follow the page there. There you go. Yeah, everyone go follow Rod on X. He's on YouTube. The core story is about time travel. I'll look out. So you've decided to choose the most difficult thing in all of storytelling to base it around. Mo would have been all over that. I know, I was thinking. After I said the long stroke, I was thinking, now where's Mo when you need him? Sumo wouldn't have let that fly either, but he's not here either. I swear I don't do it on purpose. It just is what it is. It just blurts out. What can I say? He says, oh my God, yeah, where was I? Look, hey. The thing about time travel stories is you have to be comfortable with the paradox. So You really can't have a time travel story without a paradox. So you just have to accept it and make your story as cool as possible so that no one really cares. Because some people do care. And, you know, I tried to write one that didn't have a paradox, and it was a cool story. I got pretty far along with, it was a novel. It wasn't a comic or anything. I got pretty far along with the outline. It was about these guys that, it's a bit like, if you ever seen Being John Malkovich, and what was that TV show where they like bounce around and they either bounce around in time or dimensions or something? I can't really remember. It had the dwarf from Lord of the Rings in it. A bit like a cross between that. So they discovered, they figure out a way, they make a machine that can take you forward in time. Well, you can see, yeah, sliders. You can see forward in time for, you know, you like put it in beforehand and you can see forward for about, you know, I don't know, a few minutes or something. And then whatever, and then you come back. But it's only in this machine. You don't actually travel. You just get to see. So it's sort of like you're kind of astral projecting forward into time, and then you come back. Well, you know, you don't actually leave. So it's sort of like you just get to see into the future. And that was how I thought I could circumvent the paradox. Because the only timeline you're really affecting is the future with sort of pre-knowledge. So, you know, these guys, they invent this machine that allows them to do this, and then they essentially just start making tons of money off various things. But of course, they start to see things in the future that are really bad, and they're like, how much do we want to interfere with the future, as opposed, like, you know, like we're already interfering with the future because we're getting so rich, and then, you know, what happens if you look in the future and one of you die and it's preventable? So I thought it was a cool story, and I got pretty far along with it, and then I wrote myself into a paradox, and I couldn't get out of it. I was like, damn it. Maybe you just can't. What's Jake saying about it? You can totally have paradox-free time travel if you don't use the tired old time travel mechanics of old. Well, that's what I was trying to do, but I still ended up with an issue. Quantum mechanic experiments show you can actually change the past in the future as well. You could travel to the future in an astral projection state. That's what I had. And then wake up in your new reality that changed based on your actions. The trap might be keeping it tied to a machine. Yeah, well, yeah, that could have been it. Because the fact that they had to go into it wasn't a machine, it was more like a room where you go in and essentially it's like watching it. You know, on I guess sort of like a virtual reality type thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'll go back to it one day and see if I can figure it out. You should check out Primer, a movie about some guys who build a time travel device. Pretty good movie. I think it's an indie film. I feel like I've seen that. And I say that, I haven't seen a lot of movies. But I feel like I have seen that one. Before I really started writing the Lucent properly, I was on a mega movie binge. Just devouring films to sort of get story ideas and stuff. So there was a good 2 years where I was going through 2 movies a day. But I probably forgot a lot of it. They have a spiral mirror room where you sit at the center, and the spiral sounds similar to that. Okay, yeah, maybe we sort of hit along a similar idea. Because I definitely think you can't actually travel physically without there being a paradox. I'm pretty sure. Maybe. At least the way I've thought about it. What's up, K-pop? The last best time travel show was Quantum Leap. Yeah, it's a little bit Quantum Leap-ish, my dear. Except they were just kind of trapped and then ended up, you know, having to do good, essentially. I don't know if I ever saw the end. Did he end up getting back in the end? There was a cool Star Trek episode with Data encountering 4 versions of himself. The craziest time travel story I've ever seen that really haunts me to this day is in the Orville. So if you're not familiar with the Orville, it's essentially Next Generation, just with a different... You know, it's not in the Star Trek universe, but it basically is Star Trek. It's exactly the same. And the guy, one of the crew gets trapped on an Earth-like planet. And, you know, he's just trapped there. So eventually he just settles down, you know, after 5 years of sticking to the whatever prime directive, whatever they call it in that show. He's just like, well, I guess no one's coming to get me. So he just starts living his life. Anyway, fast forward, he marries, he has a kid. He has a life. And he was kind of like a bit low on the totem pole on the ship anyway. He was sort of like the funny guy. So it's not like he was this big, important person in his previous life. But he kind of ended up winning the lottery. He got a wife. He got a good job. He got children. And I think they were even going to have another baby. Anyway, eventually, you know, the crew does manage to get to him. For them, it's only been, I don't know, a couple of hours or something. But for him, it's been a lifetime. It's very similar to the one in Star Trek with the flute. Except now, according to their rules, they can't have him interfere with that culture like that. So they essentially erase the entire experience from history. So even he doesn't end up remembering his own life and wife and children, and they're just erased from time. And I was like, that is crazy. And it was just like, and that was the end. That was the end of the episode. And I was like, that is hardcore. And it affected me for ages. And they never got back to the Orville. It only had, I think, 2 or 3 seasons. And then that was it. They never retouched on it again. And I was like, God damn, that's like, I don't think Star Trek would have done that. I think they would have figured out some kind of explanation where it's like, oh yeah, no, they're all still alive in another timeline or something. I don't know. It's pretty cold-blooded. Did I register my story and character the Lucent before you start to show around the internet? No. Trademark registration is a funny thing. Like, you actually don't, I mean, at least in Australia, anything that you make and you can prove you made it, you essentially own from the point of creation. Like, you don't have to prove it or anything. And it is actually quite limited in what you can trademark. So for instance, you cannot trademark the word Lucent. It's a word, you know? So there's lots of companies, lots of stories that use the word Lucent. You can't really do anything about that. It's not a unique thing that you made. You know, all you can really do is sort of try and be first to market with your story and the way you're presenting it. And that's kind of the best you can do. And some people think trademark law goes too far as it is. You know, like people hold IPs for, 75 years or something now. It never used to be like that. Although now, with what's going on, like look at Lord of the Rings, for example, you're like, oh, maybe it needs to be longer. Yeah, you can trademark things related to your story. So like you would trademark this logo in this look with relation to comic books and stuff. And then yeah, you can trademark toys, media. Well, any media is trademarked. You put the little, this thing is trademark, rights reserved. That media is trademarked. So you have the normal legal protection from that. Like if someone came out with a story of a girl who learns how to dream and blah 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 and calls her Ella Forsythe, yeah, I was first to market with that name in those circumstances, so I would have a case there. Like there was a guy who tried to sue. There's been lots of people who tried to sue J.K. Rowling because they were like, I had a boy wizard character. It's like, yeah, you can't really. She stole my idea. It's like you can't really trademark the idea of a boy wizard, even if he's called Harry. Like, and I don't think they are, but I think one of them, maybe there was a character called Harry, but it wasn't anything like Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling would motorboat, says Eweezy. She'd probably take you up on that offer. Is she married? I feel like she doesn't have any kids. No, she does. No, she had a kid when she was writing it. But that husband left. That was obviously decades ago. But there's a lot of concern around the indies around, copyright and things getting stolen and everything. To me, it's so far down on the list of anything to really worry about. I mean, you spend 99% of your efforts trying to get anyone to even see that you're making anything. Worried about people coming in and stealing your ideas is... By the time that happens, you're probably big enough that you're attached to some sort of large publisher that already has in-house lawyers and things like that. Anytime a story crops up where I hear, oh yeah, this is totally ripped off this, it's usually very small indies ripping off very small indies, or very small indies ripping off old media and thinking they can get away with it. So they're in the wrong, It's not like, oh, you're just this small guy who gets screwed over by the... I mean, I'm sure it probably has happened, but it's not something that I think is like endemic to the scene. The more ideas you share and spread freely, the more ideas are given. That is the essence of the ether. Become a portal for the best stuff to enter. What's up, Bobby? Great to see you join us. For me, the closest I've gotten is years before... was it years before? A little bit before. I can't remember the exact timeline, but a little bit before. What's that story? Like The Last Ronin or something? There's a story where the Ninja Raphael is like a Ronin kind of character. It's very famous. I never read it. And I won a t-shirt competition for Ninja Turtles that was judged by one of them, Eastman. And he gave it the win. And it was essentially of the turtles as samurai. And so if you were like, oh, hang on, you can't make Ninja Turtles as like some sort of samurai idea or whatever. I invented that and you saw it and you stole it. It's like, no, like that's usually the long bow that gets drawn. Was it a wet t-shirt competition? And you could wet it if you want. I wouldn't recommend it though. Like, usually when people have these stories, not every time, but a lot of the time, it's like, yeah, I don't know. That seems like a long bow to draw. I thought Michelangelo was the last one. I don't know. I thought it was Raphael, but I don't know. Never read it. I hear mixed things about it. Are there photos of this? Photos of what? The main thing is, if it's not published, it does not exist. That's the thing. That's really, yeah, that's kind of a big thing. Like if you can make something and like post it on the internet as like, oh, look what I'm working on. But if it's not actually published and released, you have a hard time claiming ownership over anything. The Last Ronin was the story I really only hear good things about. I hear mostly good things, but then other people say, no, it sucked. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know who to trust. How are we looking for time? I've got the window open of the panel breakers. It says they're live in 7 minutes, but you know what they're like. Wheeler did that to EVS. It's hilarious. What did he do? Oh, with the brute rainbow, the brute thing. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how that shakes out. Rainbow the fruit. My view on copyright is I have no God-given right to use government violence to stop you making your own derivative works. How very libertarian of you, Jake. With something I have heard happen, which is slightly different, is freelance writers pitching ideas to kind of mid-level execs and getting rejected, and then seeing that idea appear on, you know, a TV show or something. I have heard stories like that, and that's like, okay, I can sort of see that happening. You know, like kind of like these guys who have no ideas of their own but need to pitch stories, and then, you know, one day they find themselves with nothing and they're like, oh, you remember this story this guy brought in? We'll just change this and this and this and then we'll own it. Like, I 100% believe that takes place. What's up, Jim? Bally Law says, my view is pay me and I'll do it. Can't go wrong with that. Get paid. Citizen says, yep, I've had the same thing. Blackhead says trademark requires publication. Wheeler's published before Ethan, so Wheeler gets a trademark. I mean, that is going to be very interesting, isn't it? There are so many benefits to not taking a long time to get your book out. Like, they just stack up, and some of them are kind of convenient and some of them are massive. You know, getting your book out in the same tax year is huge for me. Inflation has been going nuts. Global instability regards to whatever. Tariffs, oil prices, shipping, customs, you know. It's just like the longer it takes, the worse and worse it gets, and it compounds. And then all of a sudden, and then that happens, you know. Like, that's a new one. I haven't seen that one before. But yeah, comics are really hard. They take a long friggin' time, especially if you're just sort of doing a lot of it yourself and you've got a day job or whatever. It's not easy. What about a story? This is Bobby. What about a story about a guy that steals a story from another guy that died taking a shit, and then hilarity ensues when the shit from the dead guy becomes sentient? All right, I think you got something there. I thought you were going more in the kind of like what's that movie with Nicolas Cage, Adaptation? But no, you went in a different direction. That's all right. Taxes being number one. Yeah, I agree, Jake. That for me. Like, if you're just like I know it is in America, but or the UK, but in Australia, it's pretty straightforward if you just want to be a sole trader. You know, you can set up a company and do the whole deferred asset stuff and everything, hire a whiz bang accountant to figure everything out. But I mean, it's just so much more straightforward and simple to just do money in, money out, and get your shit done in that tax year, you know. And if you sort it out properly, you know, if you do your finances properly and you figure out how much you need to spend and all that sort of stuff, it's really difficult to get yourself in trouble. You know, with all the expenditures and everything, even when I did, even when like Painted Death ended up clearing almost 80,000 US, which was about 130 Australian. So that's a lot of friggin' money. And I think even after all that, when I figured it out with all the expenses and everything, I only ended up having to pay it wasn't even that much in tax. Like what I'm saying is I did pay in tax, but what I mean is, like, my actual bill that I actually ended up owing wasn't that huge because I had worked it all out. But if I hadn't been able to get it out when I got it out, I would have been kind of fucked. You know? Any tax is too much. Absolutely. It's so frustrating, especially when there's recent and current examples of places that get by without oppressive income tax. Not even counting all the other taxes that they plonk on top. Bobby's got a name for his story. It's called Shit 2 Hits the Fan. Shit 2. It hits the fan. It's well worth developing, I reckon. The Beatles were right about the tax man. Paul Hogan too. He that's the thing about, like, even they'll get you in different countries. I think that's what happened to Paul Hogan. He went off and made a ton of money in the US, and the Australian government wanted their cut, and he's like, I don't live in Australia anymore. Piss off, you know? Why would I pay just because I was an Australian citizen, you know, X amount of, like I was an Australian resident X amount of years ago. But they ended up getting him eventually. I think that's how it went down. I don't know if I'm 100% sure, but it's pretty crazy. Meanwhile, just like in the States, you guys, everything's like, you know, 100 times worse than it is here in terms of money spent. But here, the treasurer was getting grilled because they lost $30 billion. And the guy's like, where is it? Is it under the couch? Like, how do you lose $30 billion of taxpayer money? And nothing happens. But if you don't declare the friggin' $900 that, you know, someone sent you for a one-time freelance gig, you better watch out. Yeah, who's serious was my boy. Loved Young Einstein growing up. Never seen Reckless Kelly. Don't bother with Reckless Kelly. Young Einstein is a classic. I saw that in the cinema when it came out, and I was just like, this is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. My young head had seen, and I was just obsessed with it. We don't really have that sort of irreverent sense of humor anymore in this country. Loved his guitar. Yeah, his guitar was pretty awesome. I like how they tried to, you know, like actually like line it up with scientific discoveries and stuff. Like it was actually happening. You know, he split the atom so he could put the bubble in beer, you know. Not since Crocodile Hunter got caught slipping by a stingray. Rest in peace, Steve. I don't know if you guys have seen his son lately, but he is a spitting image. That's like the closest Australia has to a royal family is the Irwins. Crikey. Now that's a knife. I haven't watched it on a Crocodile Dundee. I haven't watched it recently. I wonder if they get out the, you know, they got the tranny scene where he grabs him by the balls. You know, because they're cutting everything out that's problematic. They're changing things. What's up, Rick Saylor? Likes to give a fist bump. And he pulls the hood ornament off the limousine and uses it like a boomerang, doesn't he? God, it was a ridiculous movie, but it was so good. It was so good. That end scene where he walks above everyone's heads. It may have given the world a slightly skewed perception of life in Australia, but I think it's fine. Tattoos popular in Australia, very popular. Yeah, Australia's a bit like in the, you know, because we only have seven major cities, and you know, major cities are very similar around, you know, around the world. So a lot of people live in cities here, or at least in urban areas, and you know, it's kind of like that hipster aesthetic is very in. A lot of men have lots of tats, even women. It's pretty normal. I do not have any tats, and I never will. I could never like a piece of art, I think, that much that I want it permanently on my body. Yeah. Although I have had some of my pieces made into tats, and then people send it to me, and I'm like, oh my God. That's pretty cool. Is it true that people pee up in Australia? I'm gonna dispel that myth. No, we pee down, just like you do. Sometimes a little sideways, depending on what you've just been getting up to. But you know, I think that's a pretty common experience among males. If I lived down there, I'd have a devil as a doggy. Yeah, Rod's in the Southern Hemisphere as well, aren't you? Pretty sure. It's just that Australia is known as the Down Under. Terra Australis, the great unknown southern land. Hate tattoos, says Bobby. It's like anime. So much groupthink over something stupid. Ronan says, my uncle owned a tattoo parlor, so I grew up around them. It wasn't for me. I don't care if others... Yeah, that's how I see it. I think they can look good. But I watched a short recently as to why they fade. I was like, oh, that's kind of gross. Essentially, the ink goes down into the subcutaneous skin, whatever, and it gets attacked by white blood cells, but the ink molecules are too big for the white blood cells, so they just sort of coalesce together, and it becomes a kind of a white blood cell and ink gloop stuck underneath your skin. And then, but eventually UV rays will get through enough and start breaking it down, and it all explodes, and then the white blood cells can come in, and that's why they spread out and it gets blurry. I don't know. I was like, there's enough disgusting things going on in the human body to add to it. Yeah, here you go. Valley Law. I played football in a high school. I got a football team tattooed on me. Big regret. That's what I would imagine I would happen. I'd be like, because I really get, when I get into something, I get really into it, you know? Magmel will tell you this. Like, yeah, if I start to like something, I become kind of obsessed with it. And I could totally see myself, you know, if I were so inclined, tattooing something quite cringy and embarrassing on myself that I later regret not too long after. Yeah, so the UV breaks down the ink molecules to a point where UV can start attacking it, but by that point, the old molecules have sort of fused with white blood cells, so it doesn't completely attack it. It doesn't completely get rid of it. It gets rid of whatever escapes. That's why they fade and become blurry. It sort of spreads. I was like, oh, the more you know, hey? I don't like these new colored tattoos. I think that looks kind of bad. You know, brightly colored tattoos. No thanks. I don't even want to look at them. You know, I'm not saying not for me. I don't even want to look at them. I knew they would start late. When were they supposed to start? 45? What is it? 15? 10 minutes late? Yeah, the white blood cells die in the process of trying to attack the ink. Yeah, and they kind of get glued together like a weird black porridge underneath your skin. Plus, it's expensive. Plus, it hurts. I've seen videos of guys just like really suffering as they get tattooed on sensitive parts of the body. No thanks. E-Weezy covered in tattoos. That does not surprise me, E-Weezy. A motorboating aficionado tatted up. A lot of the footballers here have tats, you know, but they're very well built. They're tanned, they're muscular. It looks good on them. Although I do wonder what it's going to look like when they're older. Bobby C for $4.99. Thank you very much. Is it true you guys have an expression, I don't have time to screw spiders? Yes, that is a true expression. I would never use it, but I have heard it. It just means wasting your time on something that can't work. Really, as you can imagine. Trying to screw a spider. You would probably say root spiders, but screw spiders as well is a bit more international. Root means screw, essentially. It's good translation. They look like shit when you get older. Yeah, I've seen older gentlemen and their tats on their wrinkly skin. It's not a, but you know, I guess if you're tatted up, you're not getting tatted for what you're going to look like when you're 70. Thank you very much, Bobby. They've seeped into your brain and made you boob crazy. I feel like he wouldn't want it any other way. He's probably happy for that. I have heard that. Yeah, my brother has a ton of them. They always say you never get one, you know? We use it as a sarcastic response example. Are you the plumber? Well, I'm not here to fuck spiders. Yeah, that's a great example of it. And that example is a bit more like, you know, I'm not here just to do nothing, obviously. Duh. I used to have a mate I used to play poker with. He was, I wish I had written them down. He was an encyclopedia of amazing Aussie slang stuff. He would have me in tears with some of the stuff he used to say. And he'd just say it and then move on with his life as though he hadn't just dropped this hilarious thing. And I'd be, you know, crying in laughter. Be like, what? I'm like, You just said this. And he's like, yeah, what? That's normal. I hope they're not waiting for me to end. I'm waiting for them to start. All right. Another one done. Another one in the bank. I do have more. I can start another one. Bobby's going to use that now. I first heard it many years ago. I'd never confirmed it was true. Been meaning to shoehorn it into the daily lingo. Get it going. Why not? There's very colourful language down under. She'll be apples. She'll be right. I don't know why that. I don't know where that comes from. She'll be apples. It's an odd one. I think they're called idioms. Things you can't really. Something like that. You can't really figure out just from the words. Although, you know, fucking spiders. That's pretty clear cut. That's a pretty good example of an impossible task. Or something that you wouldn't want to do. No one would choose to do. He says I could get it done. Where there's a will, there's a way, huh? Fair enough. I got woken up yesterday or the day before. Mel was in hushed tones. She didn't want to wake the kids. Just want to let you know there is a huntsman in the hallway. And which means deal with it, essentially. So I went out and I checked it out. There was a juvenile female. I knew it was female because of the bulbous abdomen. The males have kind of like a thin, elongated abdomen, whereas the females, it's like a ball. She didn't want to get into the glass. Oh, I got her in there. And my son is sort of... My daughter's always been scared of them, but most women are. Although I have to say, I want to shout her out. There was a girl in my high school who was the least scared of spiders I've ever seen anyone. She used to go pick them up with her hands, like friggin' kids in Cambodia. Like, that's a bridge too far for me. I still have that, I think, natural human aversion to touching creepy crawlies. I'll trap it in a glass, but I'm not going to pick the thing up. And also just smashing... Jeffrey, do you kill huntsmen? And hello, happy Friday. Do you kill huntsmans? I don't kill them. I respect the huntsman. I've actually driven 40 minutes to go save a huntsman from an ex-girlfriend. And that was a big one. He says, I do. I feel like they're kind of integral to... They're not dangerous. What are you talking about? Have you ever heard anyone getting bitten by a huntsman? I've never heard it. And, you know, huntsmen find themselves in places where they're kind of, you know... You've been bitten by a huntsman. Wow, okay, I stand corrected. What was that experience like? I've never known a single person to be bitten. I mean, I kill redbacks on sight. Redbacks get the death penalty on sight. Even redback babies. You know, there's those little balls with them in there. I'm like, sorry, you're gone. But the other thing about huntsmen are, yeah, redbacks do breed fast. The huntsman is they're so big they leave a carcass. I don't want to deal with that. You know, you hit them. Like if you hit a little bug, it just sort of evaporates. You might need to wipe it up. But if you got to pick up the pieces of a carcass, I'd rather just put it outside. Parkour and comics. No, you glass the huntsman and put it outside. They'll eat the spiders that suck. Exactly. That's my theory. I have relocated probably, I don't know, you know, over the years, probably at least 100. Most of the time, your huntsman is going to situate itself behind furniture, behind a wardrobe or something. It's not really going to want to be out there. The most you're going to get is going to be up in the corner of your ceiling. And the ones I get around here, they're actually pretty small. I've seen some doozies. Out in the country, they get pretty massive. I went past the neighbor's place. Their lawn had 100 funnel web spiders. Oh my God. That is flamethrower situation right there. That is nuts. Now the funnel web is a spider you never want to see. And if you don't know what a funnel web is, you're doing well. One reason why I'm glad to not live up near Sydney. You guys are creeping me out, says Citizen Ronan. In Queensland, you get these spiders. They're called St. Andrew's Cross or something like that. And they're called that because when they make a web, their webs are giant. Like the size of a human, but wider. And they sit right in the middle of it with 2 of their legs going up, 2 going down, and 2 to the side like a cross. And they're quite large spiders, relatively. I think they're pretty harmless. But you can be walking down the street and one will have made one connected to a tree on the, what do you guys call that? We call it a nature strip. I don't know what you guys call that. And then connected to maybe a light or something. So it's completely covering the path. And you're just walking and then your face is right up next to this thing. And you're like, whoa! And you got to kind of like walk around onto the road to get around it. They call it a curb. Yeah, on the curb, exactly. And people have sex with these things. Well, you wouldn't imagine. That's where the saying comes from. So that's that's up in Queensland. Also, I remember last time I was in Brisbane, there was this old abandoned house. And you've probably seen photos of this around the internet where spiders will create these webs that look like frost on grass, but it's not frost, it's web. And there was this house that was covered, completely covered, entirely in this like silk-like webbing. Thousands of spiders. You could see them in the webbing. It was like a Halloween, like if you had done that for Halloween, it would have been the best thing anyone has ever done, except no one would have ever gone into it. But it was just a house. What's up, Camel? He says, hello, governor. Yeah, we've been laughing around between ourselves that when people try and do Aussie accents on stream, Americans, they always end up sounding kind of Cockney. Like, hello, governor. Oh, yeah, I'm an Aussie, right? I'm doing this, yeah. He was marveling at my ability to replicate Americans attempting Australian. All right, it sounds like they're live. Well, we got through 1.5. Got 2 more done. Well, just the character anyway. Still got to do the background and the ink wash and everything. But thank you very much for hanging out. I will be getting back to work. I hope you have a wonderful evening, whatever you're doing. I will set up the raid into the panel breakers if I can. Where is that? I should have probably done that beforehand, but you know. Nice Cockney accent. Hey, you got to watch Peaky Blinders. Peaky fucking Blinders. All right. Where is it? There we go. Save. Bat Merck, aka Matt Burke, will be launching his book tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, which I suppose I got to figure out exactly what that time is. Hell, I hope it's pronounced right. Hellware, I don't know. It's got an umlaut in it, but make sure you're here for that, and I will see you then. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.
Perth made an Australian video, and I wasn't even in it.
Emotional damage.
Hailing us!